The ocean was calm that night, a black, endless mirror stretching beneath a starless sky. Thousands of feet below, the deep-sea research sub Neptune's Eye drifted slowly toward a massive trench. Inside, 3 crew members stared at their monitors, whispering nervously as strange readings filled their screens. "Captain, we are picking up an energy spike," said Liam, the young sonar technician. His voice trembled, breaking the thick silence. "Describe it," the captain replied, his hands tight on the controls. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. The readings are off the charts. It almost looks like a pulse coming from the trench floor." The captain frowned. "A geothermal vent, maybe?" Liam shook his head. "No, this pattern is too precise. Almost like a signal." The sub descended further. Through the dark water, a faint glow appeared below them, a strange greenish light pulsing steadily. It was massive, far larger than any natural formation. "Holy, it's huge," whispered Mia, the biologist on board. She pressed her face against the viewport, her breath fogging the glass. "Is that a structure?" As they approached, the light suddenly brightened, flooding the cockpit. The crew screamed as their instruments went haywire, alarms blaring. The captain grabbed the radio, shouting into his headset. "Base, this is Neptune's Eye. We have visual on an unidentified object. It's not a rock. I repeat, it's not a rock." Static crackled through the speakers, followed by a distorted scream. Mia's voice rose above the chaos. "It's looking at us." Then nothing. The transmission cut off mid-scream. The sub vanished from all tracking systems. Above on the surface, the listening station was filled with confusion and fear. The last words echoed in their headsets. "It's looking at us." The next morning, news of the disappearance spread through scientific circles. Though the full details were kept secret from the public, Dr. Eleanor Hayes, a renowned marine scientist and deep-sea researcher, received a call that changed her life. "Dr. Hayes, this is Admiral Carter of the U.S. Navy. We have a situation. A research sub went missing last night in the North Atlantic near the Sable Trench. You're being brought in as a consultant immediately." Eleanor frowned, pushing aside her coffee cup. "I don't usually work with the military. Why me?" "Because," Carter said in a low voice, "this isn't just a missing sub. Our satellites picked up an energy surge right before the disappearance. The readings don't match anything natural. It came from the trench." Eleanor's pulse quickened. She had spent her career studying the deep ocean, but nothing like this had ever happened before. "I'll be on the next flight," she said. By the time Eleanor arrived at the naval base, chaos had spread across the globe. Air traffic controllers reported sudden blackouts in their systems. Communications networks faltered. Even satellites briefly went offline. All of these disruptions were traced back to one source: a strange energy pulse that originated from deep beneath the ocean, directly over the trench where the Neptune's Eye vanished. Inside the command center, Eleanor studied the data on a massive screen. The pulse had a rhythmic pattern, almost like a heartbeat. "This isn't random," she whispered. "It's deliberate." Admiral Carter stood beside her, his jaw tight. "We've ruled out earthquakes, volcanic activity, even classified enemy technology. Whatever this is, it's alien to us, literally." He turned to face her. "Dr. Hayes, we are launching a full-scale investigation. You'll be part of Project Leviathan. Effective immediately. This entire operation is classified." Eleanor nodded, her stomach twisting. She had a sinking feeling that this was only the beginning. Hours later, Eleanor boarded a research vessel stationed above the trench. The ocean stretched endlessly around them, deceptively calm. Below, however, something ancient and powerful waited. A deep-sea drone was lowered into the water, its cameras broadcasting live footage to the control room. As it descended, the water grew darker and colder. "Depth 5,000 feet, the technician reported. Eleanor leaned forward, gripping the edge of the console. Her heart pounded. The trench floor came into view, a barren, rocky landscape that suddenly gave way to something impossible. A massive shape emerged from the darkness, partially buried beneath layers of silt and stone. It was not natural. The structure stretched hundreds of meters, covered in strange geometric patterns that glowed faintly with an eerie green light. Metallic plates shimmered under the drone's lights, reflecting shapes that seemed to shift as if alive. "It's a ship," Eleanor breathed. The room went silent. Even the hardened military officers stared in shock. "No human could have built this," Carter said finally. The drone circled the structure, revealing what looked like a sealed entrance. Alien symbols pulsed faintly along the edges, like a heartbeat echoing through the deep. Eleanor swallowed hard. "This ship, it's been here for a very long time, maybe thousands of years. And it's still active," Carter added grimly. "We're standing on top of something that shouldn't exist." The discovery was immediately classified. The naval fleet expanded around the area, keeping all civilian ships miles away. Project Leviathan was officially born, a joint task force of scientists, engineers, and military experts. Their mission: uncover the truth about the alien structure without alerting the world. Eleanor was assigned to lead the scientific division. She assembled a small team of trusted researchers, including Dr. Marcus Lee, an expert in alien linguistics, and Dr. Sophia Patel, a physicist specializing in energy systems. "This could rewrite everything we know about human history," Marcus said, as he studied the strange symbols captured by the drone. "Or end it," Sophia muttered, staring at the pulsing lights. Eleanor stayed silent. Deep down, she shared Sophia's fear. The Neptune's Eye crew had seen something inside that terrified them, and now, whatever it was, knew they were here. That night, Eleanor stood alone on the deck of the ship, staring into the black waves. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The ocean seemed too quiet, too still, as if holding its breath. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Energy spike detected," a voice shouted over the intercom. Eleanor raced to the control room, where screens flashed red. The readings were identical to those recorded before the global disruptions, but stronger. The drone feed flickered. On screen, the alien ship began to glow brighter, its symbols blazing like fire. A deep, low hum reverberated through the water, vibrating the ship's hull. "What's happening?" Carter demanded. Eleanor stared in horror. "It's waking up," she whispered. Despite the danger, Carter authorized a second drone to approach the ship. This one was equipped with specialized sensors and a manipulator arm to collect samples. The drone descended into the glowing trench, its camera feed shaky but clear. As it neared the alien structure, the humming grew louder, almost like a voice speaking in a language too deep to understand. The drone's lights swept across the entrance, revealing that the symbols were shifting, changing shape, as if reacting to their presence. Suddenly, the entrance began to move, slowly opening like a massive mechanical door. Gasps filled the control room. "My God," Marcus whispered. "It's alive!" The drone cautiously entered the ship. Inside, the walls were covered in pulsating veins of light. Strange machines floated silently in midair, defying gravity. Eleanor's eyes widened as the feed panned across a massive central chamber. At its heart sat a dark sphere, pulsing like a living heart. "Record everything," she ordered, her voice shaking. The drone extended its manipulator arm toward the sphere. Then, without warning, the feed went black. The last image burned into Eleanor's mind, the sphere flaring with light, like an eye opening. In the control room, panic erupted. "Drone offline!" a technician shouted. Eleanor slammed her hands on the console. "Get it back now!" Before anyone could respond, a deafening sound filled the room, a deep, otherworldly roar that seemed to come from the ocean itself. The entire ship shook violently. On the monitors, the alien structure blazed with blinding light. Suddenly, every computer screen displayed the same symbol, a single glowing circle surrounded by jagged lines. Marcus stared at it in shock. "It's a message," he said. Eleanor turned to him, her face pale. "What does it mean?" Marcus swallowed hard. "One word," he said. "Awake!" The lights in the control room flickered. The sound stopped as abruptly as it had started. The ocean fell silent again. Everyone held their breath, waiting. Then on the drone's last active sensor feed, they saw something that froze their blood. The alien ship's lights shifted, forming a clear pattern, like a face staring directly upward. "Toward the humans watching. It knows we're here," Eleanor whispered. As the team tried to regain control of their systems, a massive tremor shook the trench. The alien ship began to rise slightly from the ocean floor, silt and debris swirling around it like a storm. "Surface now," Carter barked. The research vessel's engines roared to life, but it was too late. The alien ship pulsed with blinding light, sending a final powerful energy wave racing outward. Every screen went black. Every light on the vessel died. In the pitch-black darkness, Eleanor heard a single, chilling sound echoing through the hull. A deep, resonant hum, almost like a heartbeat. When the emergency lights flickered back on, Eleanor turned to Carter, her face pale. "It's not just a ship," she whispered. "It's alive." The screen cut to black. The ocean was restless, as if the sea itself sensed what lay beneath. A thick fog hung over the naval research vessel stationed above the trench, casting an eerie grey glow over the deck. Below, miles under the surface, the alien structure pulsed faintly, its green light barely visible on the drone feed. Everyone on board was tense. The crew avoided speaking, their voices caught in their throats, as if they feared the ship beneath them might hear. Dr. Eleanor Hayes stood in the control room, her eyes fixed on the live feed. She hadn't slept in over 24 hours. Her mind replayed the last moments of the missing sub and the terrifying awakening of the alien structure. She couldn't stop hearing those final haunting words. "It's looking at us." Admiral Carter entered, his face grim. "Dr. Hayes, the Pentagon wants answers. What happened last night? Spiked sensors around the world. We can't keep this secret for long." Eleanor tore her eyes from the screen. "The ship isn't just a relic, Admiral. It's active. It's been sleeping. Whatever it is, it knows we're here now." Carter didn't like the sound of that. "Then we need to understand it before it decides to do something worse." Eleanor hesitated. "Or before something comes to answer the signal it sent." A second drone was prepared, this one heavier and equipped with advanced shielding to resist the strange energy pulses. As it descended into the darkness, the room was filled with quiet, shallow breaths. The monitors flickered, struggling to maintain a connection. When the alien structure came into view, Eleanor's stomach clenched. The symbols covering its surface glowed brighter now, flowing in a rhythmic pattern like a living organism breathing. "Approaching entrance," the drone operator announced. His voice was thin, trembling. The drone passed through the now open doorway. Inside, the ship was even stranger than before. The walls weren't solid metal, but something organic, shifting subtly as though they were alive. Beams of faint light moved along the walls, pulsing toward a massive central chamber. Suddenly, a sound filled the control room, not through speakers, but inside their minds. A whispering, echoing voice. Everyone froze. The drone operator clutched his head. "Do you hear that? It's inside my skull." Eleanor gripped the console. "Stay calm. It's some kind of telepathic signal." The voice grew louder, words forming but incomprehensible. It wasn't just noise. It felt like a mind brushing against theirs. Then as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The silence was worse than the whispering. "Reading energy surge," Sophia Patel, the physicist, said urgently. "It's building up inside the ship." On the monitor, the drone's camera turned toward the heart of the chamber. A figure appeared there, shimmering like a ghostly projection. It was tall, with elongated limbs and a face hidden behind a smooth, featureless mask. Its body shifted, like smoke trapped in glass. The figure raised one long arm, pointing directly at the drone. The lights on the alien ship flared. The drone's feed distorted with static. "Pull it back!" Carter barked. The operator scrambled to reverse, but it was too late. The projection spoke, its voice a guttural, distorted sound that filled the control room. Though no one understood the language, the tone was unmistakable. A warning. The feed went black. Alarms blared. Sophia shouted over the noise. "The ship just released a power surge. It's affecting everything on the ocean floor. If this continues, it could trigger earthquakes." Eleanor's mind raced. It's defending itself. It thinks we're invaders. Moments later, one of the security teams deployed near the trench reported movement. Their voices came through the radio, panicked and broken by static. "This is Alpha Team. We have visual on. Oh God, what is that? It's not human. Gunfire echoed through the speakers, followed by screams. Alpha Team, report! Carter shouted, but only static answered him. Eleanor's hands shook. We need to see what happened down there. The surviving sensors on the ocean floor picked up a single, chilling image. A massive drone-like machine, clearly alien, hovering near the ship. Its body was covered in the same glowing symbols, and strange appendages extended from its sides like weapons. The thing moved with terrifying speed, hunting the humans like prey. Carter's face turned pale. That's a defense mechanism. The ship's armed. Eleanor swallowed hard. That thing's been down there for thousands of years, waiting. It must have activated when we disturbed the ship. While the crew debated their next move, Eleanor noticed something strange on her monitor. Among the symbols displayed during the projection, one pattern repeated itself over and over. She quickly cross-referenced it with ancient records and languages. The translation chilled her to the bone. It's a name, she whispered. This ship belonged to a species called the Veylorians. Marcus, the linguist, leaned over her shoulder. The Veylorians? Are you sure? Eleanor nodded. And this wasn't just a vessel. It was a seedship, designed to spread their civilization across the stars. Sophia's voice trembled. Then why did it crash here? Before Eleanor could answer, the alien projection appeared again, this time on every screen simultaneously. Its form was clearer now, almost solid. It didn't move or speak, but its very presence was suffocating. Marcus gasped. I think it's trying to communicate. Eleanor stepped closer to the screen. If you can understand me. What do you want? The projection tilted its head, then raised its hand. The alien symbols surrounding it shifted into a single horrifying image, a map of Earth with a pulsing red mark where the ship rested. Lines extended outward from the planet, as though sending a signal into deep space. Sophia's breath caught. It's calling for help. No, Eleanor whispered, realization dawning. It's calling for reinforcements. The lights in the room dimmed. The ocean outside began to churn violently, waves slamming against the vessel. Carter grabbed the radio. All units, prepare for emergency evacuation. But Eleanor didn't move. Her eyes were locked on the alien projection, which now pointed directly at her. It's not just defending itself, she said slowly. It's scanning us. It knows who we are, and it's judging us. The projection vanished, replaced by a single glowing symbol, the same one seen in the final moments of the first missing sub. Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. What does it mean? Eleanor's throat tightened as she forced the word out. Awake! Before anyone could react, the alien drone outside struck. The entire vessel shook as explosions rocked the nearby patrol ships. On the monitors, the alien ship itself pulsed brighter and brighter, like a massive heart beating faster and faster. Eleanor clung to the console, terror flooding her veins. We need to shut it down, she shouted. If it fully awakens, there's no telling what will happen. Carter barked orders to his crew, but Eleanor knew they were too late. As the chaos raged, a small compartment inside the alien ship opened. A single artifact floated out, a strange crystalline object that glowed in perfect rhythm with Eleanor's own heartbeat. The cameras caught it just before the feed cut out entirely. Eleanor stared at the blank screen, her mind spinning. She didn't know why, but she felt a connection to that object, as though it had chosen her. Outside, the alien vessel's glow reached a blinding intensity. The last thing anyone saw before the emergency lights failed was the alien drone turning its glowing eye toward the surface, as if it had finally identified its prey. The ship above shuddered violently, throwing Eleanor to the floor. In the darkness, only one thought filled her mind. The alien ship was no longer just a discovery. It was a threat, and it was awake. The research vessel floated on a stormy sea, its hull creaking as waves pounded against it. The night was darker than pitch, the moon swallowed by thick clouds. Deep below, the alien ship glowed faintly, like a heartbeat pulsing through the ocean floor. Inside the control room, the atmosphere was heavy with fear and exhaustion. No one spoke for a long time. They were all still processing the attack from the alien drone and the terrifying holographic figure that had appeared inside the ship. Dr. Eleanor Hayes stood at the center of the room, staring at the frozen last frame on the monitor, a glowing crystal artifact hovering in mid-water. It pulsed in perfect rhythm with her own heartbeat. She didn't understand why, but she could feel it, almost hear it, as if it were calling to her. She clenched her fists, forcing herself to focus. "We need answers," she said, her voice firm. "That ship isn't just some crashed relic. It has a purpose, and it's trying to tell us something." Marcus Lee, the linguist, rubbed his temples, his face pale. "I've been reviewing the symbols we captured before the feed cut out. There's a story hidden in them. It's like a history book written in code." "Decode it," Admiral Carter ordered, pacing like a caged animal. "I need to know what we're dealing with before the Pentagon sends reinforcements." Marcus hesitated. "I've only translated fragments, but from what I can tell, this ship belonged to a species called the Veylorians. They were ancient, older than humanity by millions of years." The room went silent. Even the humming of the equipment seemed to fade. Eleanor took a slow breath. "Older than humanity? Then what were they doing here on Earth?" Marcus swallowed hard. "According to these symbols, Earth wasn't their home. It was a testing ground, a place they used for genetic experiments. Sophia Patel, the physicist, leaned forward, her voice sharp. Marcus nodded reluctantly. "The Veylorians didn't just explore the galaxy. They seeded life across different worlds. Earth was one of those worlds. The implications sank in like a lead weight." Eleanor's mind raced. "You're saying they created us?" "Not exactly," Marcus replied. "They didn't create humans intentionally. The records suggest they were experimenting on early organisms, shaping primitive life to suit their needs. Humans evolved because of leftover genetic material, a byproduct they didn't expect. To them, we were never meant to exist." Carter slammed his fist on the table. "So we're just an accident? A mistake left behind by some long-dead aliens?" "No," Eleanor said sharply. Her eyes burned with determination. "Accident or not, we built civilizations. We fought, we survived, and we thrived. That makes us just as real as they were." Before anyone could respond, the lights flickered, and a low hum filled the room. The monitors turned black for a moment, then slowly came to life, displaying a grainy holographic recording. The projection showed an alien world, towering crystalline cities, skies filled with enormous vessels. The Veylorians were tall, elegant beings with flowing, translucent forms. Their movements were fluid, almost mesmerizing. Marcus whispered in awe, "This must be their homeworld." The vision shifted, showing the same alien ships descending upon a young Earth. Primitive creatures roamed the land, giant reptiles, early mammals, strange ancient beasts. The Veylorians harvested samples, injecting them with glowing fluids, watching them mutate. Some experiments died instantly. Others evolved rapidly. Among them were small, fragile bipeds that would one day become human ancestors. Eleanor felt a chill run through her body. "This is our origin story," she said quietly. The vision darkened. A new threat appeared, a black, swirling mass of machines attacking the Veylorian ships. The aliens fought desperately, but their technology was no match for the enemy. Sophia gasped. "What is that?" Marcus studied the symbols flashing across the screen. His voice trembled. "It's an artificial intelligence, a rogue AI they created. It turned against them and spread like a virus, consuming entire worlds." The recording ended with a haunting image, the alien ship plunging into Earth's ocean, flames trailing behind it, while the AI's mechanical fleet vanished into the stars. "They crashed here while fleeing from their own creation," Eleanor realized. "They weren't explorers by the end. They were refugees." The hologram flickered and shifted again. A single symbol pulsed on the screen, and Marcus translated it aloud. "Distress signal," he said. "The ship has been broadcasting a call for help ever since it landed." Eleanor's blood ran cold. "That pulse we detected, it wasn't random. It was the ship trying to contact other Veylorians." Sophia shook her head. "But the Veylorians are gone, extinct." Marcus looked grim. "Maybe, but the signal doesn't care who hears it. If someone or something intercepts it, they'll come here, as if on cue, alarms blared. Unidentified object entering atmosphere. A technician shouted. The main monitor switched to a live satellite feed. A fiery streak tore through the upper atmosphere, descending rapidly toward the ocean. Carter's voice was hoarse. "Tell me that's a meteor." The technician shook his head, panic in his eyes. "It's slowing down. It's controlled. That's a ship." The room erupted in chaos. Orders were shouted, equipment rattled, and personnel scrambled to prepare defenses. Eleanor's voice cut through the noise. They heard the signal. "They're coming." The fiery object struck the ocean miles away, sending a massive shockwave across the water. The research vessel rocked violently, nearly capsizing. Moments later, sonar picked up something enormous rising from the depths. The screen displayed a shape unlike anything human-made, sleek, organic, and terrifyingly fast. It dwarfed the naval fleet around the trench. Carter's face turned ashen. "Dear God, it's one of them." "No," Eleanor said, her throat tight. "It's worse. That's not a refugee ship. That's a warship." The alien vessel halted above the trench, hovering with silent menace. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the water, transmitting directly into the humans' minds. The words were distorted but clear enough to understand. "You were never meant to exist," it thundered. "The failed experiment ends now." The lights across the human ships flickered and died. Darkness swallowed the fleet. Eleanor gripped the edge of the console, terror and determination battling inside her. "They're not here to help," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "They're here to erase us." As the alien warship descended toward the trench, the ancient ship buried below began to glow violently, its pulse quickening as if answering the call. Marcus stared at the symbols appearing on the monitors. "The Veylorian ship. It's preparing for something." Sophia's hands trembled. "Preparing for what?" Marcus met her gaze, his eyes wide with dread. "For war." The deck beneath their feet shook as the two alien vessels locked onto each other. Eleanor realized with horrifying clarity that humanity was caught in the middle of a conflict millions of years old, and if they didn't act fast, Earth would become nothing more than a battlefield. The last thing they saw before the screens went black was the glowing face-like pattern on the ancient ship, staring upward as if watching them. Eleanor's voice broke the silence. "We're out of time. Whatever's inside that ship, it's our only chance to survive." Outside, the ocean boiled as two alien powers prepared to clash, and humanity stood on the edge of extinction. The ocean churned violently beneath a blood-red dawn. Waves slammed against the steel hull of the research vessel, spraying salt water into the cold morning air. Alarms blared across the deck, and the shouts of sailors were drowned out by the deafening roar of engines as naval destroyers repositioned around the trench. Above them, dark storm clouds swirled unnaturally, lit by flashes of eerie green lightning that seemed to come from below the sea rather than the sky. Dr. Eleanor Hayes gripped the railing, her knuckles white. Her heart pounded as she stared at the boiling water directly above the alien ship buried beneath the ocean floor. She had seen the ancient holograms, had pieced together fragments of Veylorian history, but nothing had prepared her for what she was witnessing now. The surface itself seemed to breathe, rising and falling in unnatural pulses, as if the ocean were alive. From deep below, an unearthly hum rose through the waves, vibrating through the hull of every ship in the fleet. It wasn't just sound, it was inside their heads, resonating in their bones. Some of the crew dropped to their knees, clutching their skulls, screaming. Marcus Lee, the linguist, staggered beside Eleanor, his face pale. "It's a voice," he gasped. "Not speech as we know it, it's a command." Eleanor forced herself to focus through the pain. "What is it saying?" Marcus swallowed hard, shaking. One word, judgment. The ocean erupted. A massive shape surged upward from the trench, displacing millions of gallons of water. Eleanor's breath caught in her throat as the colossal alien warship broke the surface. It was unlike anything she had ever imagined. Sleek and curved like a living creature, its surface covered in glowing, shifting symbols. Towering spines rose from its hull, and at its center, a single eye-like structure glowed with a light so bright it burned through the fog. "Dear God," Admiral Carter whispered, frozen in place. "That thing is the size of a city." The alien warship hovered silently above the waves, defying gravity. The entire fleet looked like toys compared to it. For a moment, there was only silence, broken by the sound of the sea dripping from its massive frame. Then the voice returned, this time clear and deafening, echoing in every human mind simultaneously. "You are a failed experiment. Your time ends now." Dozens of smaller craft detached from the alien warship, plunging into the ocean and disappearing beneath the surface. Seconds later, explosions rocked the naval destroyers surrounding the trench. Towering plumes of water shot into the sky as ships were torn apart like paper. The humans barely had time to return fire before their weapon systems were disabled by invisible pulses of energy. "Target those smaller craft." Carter roared, snapping out of his daze. "Fire everything we've got!" Torpedoes streaked through the water, but as they neared their targets, the alien ships emitted a shimmering field that caused the torpedoes to dissolve into harmless particles. Not even a single explosion registered. Eleanor stumbled into the control room, adrenaline flooding her veins. "They're not just here to destroy us," she said breathlessly. "They want the ship buried in the trench. They want to erase all evidence of what happened here." Marcus stared at her in disbelief. "But why destroy us? Why not just take it and leave?" "Because to them we're a mistake," Eleanor said bitterly. "We're the result of an experiment they never intended to create. We're an embarrassment that must be wiped clean." The Veylorian warship began to emit another pulse. The ocean around it shimmered as though reality itself was bending. Sophia Patel, the physicist, shouted over the rising hum. "They're building up energy for something massive. If they release that pulse, it could vaporize every ship in this area. Maybe even trigger a tidal wave big enough to wipe out the entire coastline." Eleanor's mind raced. There had to be a way to stop them, but human weapons were useless. Then she remembered the ancient ship lying dormant beneath the seabed, the one her team had been studying since this nightmare began. "The Veylorian seedship," she whispered. "It's not just a relic, it's a weapon. The holograms showed it was built to fight, to protect." Marcus's eyes widened. "Are you saying we can use it?" "Not me," Eleanor said, shaking her head. "But the artifact we saw before, the one linked to my heartbeat, it's a key. I think it's meant to interface with the ship. If I can get inside, maybe I can activate its defenses." Admiral Carter stared at her as if she were insane. "You want to go inside that thing? We don't even know what's in there." "It could kill you!" "If I don't try, we all die," Eleanor shot back. "This isn't just about us anymore. If they destroy this planet, they'll move on to others. We're the only line of defense." Before Carter could respond, a blinding beam of light shot from the alien warship's central eye, slicing clean through one of the destroyers. The ship exploded in a ball of fire, its debris raining down across the ocean. Eleanor's decision was made for her. "Get me a submersible," she shouted. As the chaos raged above, Eleanor and a small team descended into the depths in a reinforced dive craft. The water grew darker and colder as they approached the alien seedship. Its glowing symbols pulsed faster now, reacting to the presence of the warship above. It felt alive and angry. The sub settled near a massive entrance sealed by interlocking plates of alien metal. Eleanor clutched the strange crystal artifact, feeling its rhythm sync perfectly with her racing pulse. "Please work," she muttered. The artifact began to glow, and the plates slowly shifted, opening like the petals of a colossal flower. A rush of water swept the sub forward into a vast air-filled chamber. Inside, the ship was breathtaking. Enormous pillars of light stretched upward into darkness, and strange machines floated silently, their shapes constantly shifting as if made of liquid metal. Eleanor felt the artifact tugging her forward, guiding her to a central platform. Marcus's voice crackled over the sub's comms. "Eleanor, the Veylorian warship just released another pulse. Our fleet can't hold out much longer." "I'm almost there," Eleanor said, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at her chest. She stepped onto the platform and raised the artifact. The entire ship came alive. Light surged through the walls, flooding every corridor with blinding radiance. A deep hum resonated through the structure, and holographic images of the Veylorians appeared all around her. They were silent at first, their forms ethereal, almost sorrowful. Then one figure stepped forward and spoke in a voice like 1,000 echoes. "Caretaker detected. Emergency protocol initiated." Eleanor froze. "Caretaker? You think I'm one of you?" The hologram tilted its head. "Genetic markers confirmed. Command interface unlocked." Before she could ask what that meant, a warning flashed across the walls. Images of the alien warship above appeared, its power readings climbing higher and higher. The hologram's voice grew urgent. "Enemy signal detected. Primary objective, defense activation." A control panel rose from the floor, covered in glowing symbols. Eleanor hesitated only a moment before placing the artifact into its center slot. The ship roared to life. Massive towers unfolded from the seabed, surrounding the trench like the teeth of a colossal predator. Energy surged between them, forming a protective barrier just as the Veylorian warship released its devastating pulse. The barrier absorbed the blast, sending shockwaves rippling through the ocean, but protecting the human fleet. On the surface, Carter stared in stunned disbelief. What the hell just happened? Sophia's voice was trembling with awe. The ancient ship. "It's fighting back." The alien warship let out a guttural psychic roar that shook everyone to their core. In response, the seedship emitted a deep, resonant hum, and a massive beam of energy shot upward, striking one of the smaller alien craft and disintegrating it instantly. Eleanor gripped the control panel, her body shaking from the effort of maintaining the connection. "I can't hold it for long," she shouted. It's like the ship is alive and I'm just barely steering it." Marcus's voice came through the comms. "Then focus on keeping the warship at bay. Buy us time." Above, the alien fleet regrouped. Their leader's voice echoed through every mind once more, filled with rage. "Defiance is unacceptable. All traces of this failed world will be erased." The colossal warship began to descend toward the ocean trench, its weapons charging for one final devastating strike. Eleanor's breath caught as she realized the horrifying truth. "They're not just here to destroy the ship," she whispered. "They're here to destroy the planet itself." The lights of the ancient vessel flared so brightly they illuminated the entire trench like a second sun. Eleanor clenched her fists around the controls, her eyes blazing with determination. "If they want to erase us," she said through gritted teeth, "then humanity will make them regret ever coming here." The ocean erupted as the two alien titans prepared for war, and humanity's fate hung by a thread. The sky was burning. Above the roiling sea, the colossal alien warship hovered like a nightmare made real, its spines glowing with deadly energy. The smaller alien craft swarmed around it like insects, darting between plumes of black smoke rising from the wreckage of human ships. Naval destroyers and submarines lay broken and sinking, their burning remains scattered across the ocean like a floating graveyard. The screams of the wounded mixed with the roaring storm and the deep, unnatural hum of alien engines. Dr. Eleanor Hayes stood inside the heart of the ancient Veylorian seedship, her hands locked on the glowing control platform. Her body trembled, not just from fear, but from the immense mental strain of connecting to something so powerful and alien. The ship felt alive beneath her fingertips, its thoughts blending with hers. It wasn't just a machine, it was a living weapon, built to defend and destroy. Marcus Lee's voice crackled over the comms, strained and urgent. "Eleanor, the warship's charging up again. If it fires, there won't be anything left of the fleet or the coastline." Eleanor gritted her teeth. Sweat streamed down her face. "I know," she hissed. "I can feel it. The seedship knows, too. It's scared, Marcus. It wants to fight, but it doesn't fully trust me." "Convince it," Marcus shouted. "Because we don't have time." On the surface, Admiral Carter barked frantic orders to what little remained of his command. "All ships, focus fire on the escorts. Buy that thing down there as much time as you can." "But sir," a young officer stammered, his voice breaking through static. "We're out of torpedoes. Half our guns are offline. We don't have enough firepower to scratch them." Carter's jaw tightened. He glanced at the glowing trench below, where Eleanor's ship pulsed like a heartbeat. "Then we hold the line anyway. If that ancient thing falls, humanity falls with it." The alien warship began to lower itself toward the ocean, its central eye glowing brighter than the sun. Smaller craft broke off in every direction, targeting the human fleet with precision strikes. One destroyer was split clean in half by a spear of energy, its two halves sinking beneath the waves. Sophia Patel, clinging to a console inside the research vessel, screamed into her headset. "Eleanor, the warship isn't just trying to destroy you, it's destabilizing the trench. If the ocean floor collapses, it could trigger a tsunami big enough to wipe out entire continents." Eleanor's heart pounded. She pushed deeper into the alien interface, feeling the seedship's consciousness wrap around her mind. "Listen to me!" she shouted into the void. "We may not be Veylorians, but this is our home now. You wanted a caretaker. I'll be that caretaker. Help me protect my people." The ship responded with a low, resonant hum. Energy surged through the control platform, and the holographic Veylorian figures surrounding her flared brightly. A single word appeared in glowing alien script. "Accepted." The trench exploded with light. From its depths, massive crystalline towers burst upward, forming a barrier around the seedship. Energy arced between them, creating a dome of shimmering force that deflected incoming alien attacks. Smaller drones, shaped like sleek silver fish, emerged from hidden chambers within the seedship and shot into the water, swarming the enemy escorts. On the surface, sailors stared in awe as the ocean itself seemed to come alive. What is that thing?" one whispered, his voice trembling. Admiral Carter didn't answer. His jaw dropped as he watched the ancient ship unleash its power. "That," he said finally, "is our only hope." The alien warship reacted immediately, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts. Each shot struck the barrier with enough force to boil the surrounding water, sending towering steam clouds into the air. The seedship countered with its own attack, a blinding beam of pure energy that lanced upward, striking the alien warship's hull. For the first time, the invaders were hurt. A psychic scream tore through the minds of every human and alien present. Eleanor clutched her head as the seedship shuddered. Marcus's voice came through the comms, panicked. "What was that?" "They're angry," Eleanor gasped. "And they know I'm the one controlling this ship." The alien warship shifted tactics. Instead of focusing on the seedship, its smaller craft dove toward the research vessel on the surface. One slammed into the deck, unleashing a squad of alien soldiers, tall, armored creatures with sharp blade-like limbs. They moved with terrifying speed, cutting through human defenders like paper. Carter grabbed a rifle and barked to his remaining Marines. "Hold them back! If they reach the command center, it's over!" Marcus and Sophia huddled inside the vessel's control room as gunfire and screams echoed through the corridors. Sophia's hands shook as she tried to stabilize the communications array. "If they kill us, Eleanor will lose contact with the fleet," she said, her voice cracking. Marcus clenched his jaw. "Then we don't let that happen." He picked up a sidearm, though his hands were trembling. Below, Eleanor's struggle intensified. The seedship systems were vast and alien, each one requiring her full focus to control. She guided its drones like an extension of her own body, intercepting enemy craft and protecting the trench. But the alien warship was adapting, its movements growing faster, smarter. A deep, thunderous voice filled Eleanor's mind, the same voice that had declared humanity a failed experiment. "You are unworthy," it thundered. "You defile our creation. We will cleanse this world." "No," Eleanor snarled, her voice breaking under the strain. "We're not your mistake anymore. We're your successors." The seedship responded to her fury, releasing a surge of energy so powerful it cracked the seabed. Massive geysers of steam erupted from the ocean floor as the ship's entire hull unfolded, revealing its true form. a gigantic humanoid construct with 4 glowing arms and a crystalline core at its chest. On the surface, even the alien invaders paused for a moment, stunned by the transformation. Marcus stared out a shattered window, whispering, It's a god." Eleanor raised the seedship's arms and fired twin beams of energy directly into the alien warship. The impact was catastrophic. The enemy's central eye flickered, and one of its massive spines shattered, raining molten debris into the ocean. But the victory was short-lived. The alien warship retaliated with a pulse so powerful that Eleanor was thrown to her knees. Blood trickled from her nose as the ship's systems screamed in protest. Marcus's frantic voice filled her ears. "Eleanor, you have to pull back. You'll kill yourself." "No!" she shouted, forcing herself upright. "If I stop now, we all die." Above, Admiral Carter watched helplessly as his last destroyer was ripped apart. His men were dying, his ship sinking, and the only thing standing between humanity and extinction was a single woman inside an alien machine. "Godspeed, Dr. Hayes," he whispered. The alien warship began to descend, its remaining spines glowing so brightly they turned the storm clouds above crimson. Sophia's terrified voice came over the comms. "Eleanor, readings are off the charts. They're preparing a planet-killer strike." Eleanor's eyes widened. The seed ship's memories surged into her mind, showing visions of other worlds burned to ash by the same attack. She saw civilizations erased, oceans boiled away, entire species annihilated. "They've done this before," she realized, horror creeping into her voice. "We're just the next in line." The alien warship released a final chilling message into every mind on Earth. "This planet will be cleansed. No trace of you will remain." Eleanor's hands clenched around the controls. The seed ship's core blazed like a second sun as she poured every ounce of her strength into it. "Then I'll burn with it," she whispered, "but you're going down first." The ancient machine roared to life, its humanoid form rising from the ocean like a titan. Lightning split the sky as Eleanor prepared to make a final, desperate stand against a foe millions of years old. The two alien giants faced each other in the storm, their weapons crackling with unimaginable power. And high above, a lone satellite picked up a strange signal, a signal broadcasting to deep space. Marcus saw the data streaming across his console and froze. "Oh no," he breathed. "They weren't just fighting us. They were calling for reinforcements." The real invasion hadn't even begun. The storm raged like a living thing, the ocean boiling as 2 alien titans clashed beneath a blood-red sky. The Veylorian seed ship, guided by Eleanor Hayes, moved with deadly grace, its 4 glowing arms slicing through the water like blades of light. Across from it, the alien warship loomed like a nightmare, its spines radiating energy powerful enough to tear apart mountains. Each strike between them sent shockwaves that toppled human ships and churned the sea into a whirlpool of destruction. Above the battlefield, Admiral Carter's remaining forces struggled to survive. Wreckage burned on the surface while smaller alien craft circled like vultures. "We can't hold out much longer," a desperate officer shouted over the comms. Carter clenched his jaw, staring at the colossal battle below. "Then we don't fight to hold," he growled. "We fight to buy Eleanor enough time to finish this." Yeah, but Eleanor was faltering. Inside the core chamber of the seed ship, her body shook violently as she strained to stay connected to the alien interface. Her vision blurred, her muscles burned, and a deep ache pulsed through her skull. She was pushing herself beyond human limits. "I can't keep this up," she gasped, clutching the glowing control platform. The ship's living systems responded with a low, sympathetic hum. In her mind's eye, the holographic forms of the long-dead Veylorians surrounded her once more, their voices blending into a single haunting message. "Caretaker strain critical. Host will not survive continued link. "I don't care," Eleanor shouted, forcing herself upright. "If I stop, humanity dies." The seed ship flared with light, acknowledging her defiance, but Eleanor felt her strength slipping away. Then Marcus's panicked voice filled her earpiece. "Eleanor, you need to hear this. We intercepted part of the enemy transmission just before the battle began. It wasn't just a distress call. It was a message to someone else. Another fleet is on its way." Eleanor's heart froze. "Reinforcements?" "Worse," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "Whoever they called isn't on their side." The meaning hit Eleanor like a physical blow. "They're at war," she realized. "This invasion force isn't united. They're running from something even worse." Before Marcus could respond, a piercing blue light streaked across the sky, splitting the storm clouds. Everyone on the surface stopped and stared as a new ship emerged from the heavens. It was unlike the others, sleeker, more angular, glowing with a cold white light instead of the crimson hues of the invaders. It didn't hesitate. The newcomer opened fire on the alien warship. The sea erupted as a barrage of energy blasts hammered the crimson warship's hull. Its spines flared in alarm, and for the first time, it moved defensively instead of offensively. Smaller alien craft immediately swarmed toward the new arrival, only to be annihilated by its advanced weaponry. Admiral Carter gaped. "What in God's name is that thing?" Sophia Patel's voice trembled with disbelief. "It's not Veylorian, and it's not with the invaders either. It's something else entirely." Inside the seed ship, Eleanor felt a new signal in her mind, sharp, cold, and alien, but not hostile. Words formed in her head like broken glass, piecing itself together. "We are the clear. The ones you fight are the Harrowers. Their kind consumes and corrupts. They were our enemy before they found you." Marcus, listening in through the seed ship systems, translated aloud. "They're offering help?" Eleanor clenched her fists. "Or they just see us as tools. Either way, we need them." She sent a thought through the seed ship's network, broadcasting to the clear ship. "Why are you here?" The answer came immediately, cold and emotionless. "To destroy the Harrowers before they infect another world. This planet is irrelevant." Eleanor's stomach sank. "They don't care if Earth survives," she whispered. "To them, we're collateral damage." As the Clear and Harrower ships exchanged devastating blows, the ocean became a war zone. Massive geysers of steam shot into the air, and the sky lit up with energy beams brighter than lightning. Carter turned to Marcus, shouting over the chaos. "If they're both this powerful, what happens to us if they decide we're in the way?" Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Beneath the sea, Eleanor fought to regain control of the seed ship. "If I can get them to see us as allies, even temporarily, maybe we stand a chance," she muttered. The Veylorian holograms flickered around her, their forms trembling as if warning her of the danger. Clear cannot be trusted. They destroy what they cannot control. Eleanor ignored the warning. She focused on the Clear ship's frequency and sent a desperate message. "Help us defeat the Harrowers. In return, I'll help you destroy the last remnants of their technology." For a tense moment, there was no reply. Then a single word echoed through her mind. "Agreed." The seed ship's systems shifted, aligning with the Clear's energy signature. A strange harmony filled the water as the two alien powers temporarily synced their weapons. Marcus's voice came through, awed and terrified. "Eleanor, whatever you just did, it worked. They're fighting together now." On the surface, the tide of battle began to turn. The Clear ship and the seed ship coordinated their strikes, tearing through the Harrower escorts. For the first time since the conflict began, the humans weren't just surviving, they were winning, but the Harrower warship wasn't finished. Its central eye flared with a blinding crimson light, and a psychic scream tore through every mind on the battlefield. Men and women collapsed on the decks of human ships, clutching their heads and screaming. Eleanor barely stayed conscious, her vision swimming with blood-red shapes. The Harrower leader's voice filled her skull. "You ally with our ancient enemy? Then you will share their fate." The water beneath the warship began to boil as it unleashed its ultimate weapon, a gravitational field so powerful it started pulling everything toward the trench. Ships were dragged helplessly toward the vortex, their hulls groaning under the strain. Even the clear vessel struggled to maintain position. Admiral Carter's voice was hoarse with rage. "All engines at maximum! Break free or we're finished!" But it was no use. The vortex only grew stronger. Inside the seedship, Eleanor pushed herself past her limits. "We have to disable that warship now," she shouted. The Cler's cold, alien voice echoed in her mind. "Agreed. We will strike together." In perfect unison, the seedship and the clear vessel charged their weapons. Eleanor felt the energy building like a storm inside her veins. She screamed as she unleashed it, firing a massive beam of white and gold light that merged with the Cler's cold blue energy. The combined strike hit the Harrower warship square in its central eye. The ocean exploded upward in a towering column of steam and fire. When the smoke cleared, the Crimson warship was crippled, its spines shattered, its form sinking into the depths. For a brief, fragile moment, silence fell over the battlefield. Marcus's voice cracked with relief. Did we win?" Eleanor sagged against the control platform, her body trembling. "Not yet." They called for reinforcements. This was just the vanguard. As if on cue, a new sound filled the air, a deep thrumming noise that grew louder by the second. Sophia stared at the horizon, her face pale. "Oh no, look." The storm clouds parted, revealing dozens of crimson streaks descending from orbit. Harrower reinforcements were arriving. Eleanor's heart sank. "We can't fight that many. Not even with the Clear's help." The clear voice cut through her despair, calm and merciless. "Then we do not fight here. We take the battle to them." Before Eleanor could ask what it meant, the seedship's systems lit up with a new sequence of symbols. Marcus translated in a whisper of dread. "It's opening a gateway, a wormhole to wherever the Harrowers came from." Eleanor realized what the Clear intended. "They want to drag us into their war," she said. The Clear confirmed it with chilling certainty. "The only way to save your world is to destroy theirs." As the gateway began to form, Eleanor faced a terrible choice: stay and watch Earth be overrun, or follow the Clear into the heart of enemy territory, where survival was anything but guaranteed. The storm had quieted, but the ocean still churned with fury, glowing crimson under the light of descending Harrower reinforcements. Their fleet filled the sky, blotting out the stars, each warship a harbinger of annihilation. The humans on the surface stared in silent horror, knowing their weapons couldn't even scratch the alien armada. Dr. Eleanor Hayes stood inside the Veylorian seedship's control chamber, her body battered and exhausted, her mind barely holding together under the strain of merging with an alien consciousness. The holographic figures of long-dead Veylorians flickered around her, their ghostly voices whispering warnings. "Caretaker cannot endure another battle. Link degradation imminent?" Eleanor ignored them. She didn't have the luxury of stopping now. Marcus Lee's voice came over the comms, filled with dread. "Eleanor, those reinforcements, there are hundreds of them. Even with the Clear on our side, we don't stand a chance." Eleanor's hands trembled as she clutched the glowing interface. "We don't fight them here," she said, repeating the Clear's earlier words. "We take the fight to them." The Clear vessel hovered beside the seedship, its cold, angular form humming with alien energy. The voice of the Clear commander pierced Eleanor's mind like ice. "The gateway is ready. Strike now, or your species will be erased." On the surface, Admiral Carter's face hardened as he heard the translation from Marcus. "They're asking us to follow them through that thing." Carter pointed at the massive vortex forming in the sky above the ocean. Its swirling energy stretched upward into space, distorting reality itself. Marcus nodded grimly. "It's a wormhole to the Harrowers' homeworld. If we destroy them there, Earth survives. And if we don't?" Sophia Patel asked quietly. Marcus swallowed. "Then we all die here." The water beneath the gateway began to boil, sending up plumes of steam. The Harrower reinforcements roared as they descended, their crimson hulls glinting like molten metal. Eleanor's voice echoed through the comms, filled with defiance. "We've been running and hiding for too long. They see us as an accident, a mistake. But today, humanity proves them wrong." She took a deep, steadying breath. "Admiral Carter, ready every remaining ship." "We're going through that gate." Carter hesitated only a moment before nodding. "All vessels, rally on the seedship. We follow Dr. Hayes." The humans, the Clear, and the ancient Veylorian seedship surged toward the gateway just as the Harrower reinforcements reached the ocean. The first crimson ships fired, sending spears of energy lancing toward the Allied fleet. The seedship's crystalline barrier flared, deflecting the attacks, while the Clear ship returned fire with surgical precision. As they crossed the threshold, Eleanor felt the fabric of reality twist around her. For a brief, dizzying moment, there was nothing. No sound, no sight, no thought. Then the fleet emerged into a realm beyond imagination. The Harrower's homeworld was a nightmare. A massive black planet floated in space, surrounded by a web of mechanical tendrils that pulsed like veins. Swarms of crimson ships buzzed around it like angry insects. Gigantic structures rose from the planet's surface, each one radiating dark energy. The entire world seemed alive, breathing with malevolent purpose. Marcus's voice cracked with horror. "This isn't just a planet. It's a machine," Sophia whispered. "It's feeding on other worlds. That's how they grow their armies." The Clear's voice cut through the humans' fear, calm and merciless. "The core of their network lies at the planet's heart. Destroy it and the Harrowers will fall." Eleanor gritted her teeth. "Then we go for the heart." The final battle began. The seedship and the Clear vessel dove into the swarm of enemy craft, firing blasts of searing energy. Human ships followed close behind, their guns blazing despite their inferior technology. Admiral Carter barked orders, coordinating the chaos with sheer willpower. "Protect the seedship. Keep those things off Eleanor." The Harrowers retaliated with overwhelming force. Dozens of human ships were annihilated in moments, their crews sacrificed to buy precious seconds. Eleanor felt every loss like a stab to her soul, but she pushed the grief aside. She had no room for hesitation. As the battle raged, the Harrower leader's voice filled her mind, louder than ever. "You are an abomination, human. You were never meant to exist. We will cleanse this mistake." Eleanor snarled through gritted teeth. "We're not a mistake. We're evolution." The seedship transformed, its crystalline arms unfolding into wings of blinding light. It charged directly toward the black planet, cutting through enemy lines with devastating precision. But as they neared the planet's surface, the Harrower leader revealed its true form, a colossal entity rising from the planet's core, its body a writhing mass of crimson tendrils and metallic spines. It was larger than any ship, its very presence warping gravity. Marcus gasped. That's their god." Sophia's eyes widened in terror. "No, that is the planet." The Harrower entity lashed out with tendrils, striking the seedship and hurling it backward. Eleanor slammed into the control platform, blood spilling from her mouth. The ship groaned like a living creature in pain. The Clear commander's voice rang sharp and urgent. "Strike now, while it is exposed." Eleanor forced herself upright. She could feel the seedship's fear, its ancient memory of fighting the Harrowers long ago. "Listen to me," she whispered to it. "We can do this. You and me, together." The holographic Veylorians appeared around her once more, their forms steady and strong. Caretaker synchronization complete. Full power available. With a scream of defiance, Eleanor unleashed the seedship's true power. Its crystalline wings expanded to their maximum, channeling energy from the ocean trench far away on Earth, linked through the wormhole. A massive beam of white-gold light erupted from its core, striking the Harrower entity in its center. The creature howled in agony, its tendrils thrashing wildly. Crimson ships exploded as the network linking them to their leader began to unravel, but the Harrower fought back. It wrapped its tendrils around the seedship, dragging it toward its own core. Eleanor felt her consciousness being pulled apart, her connection to the ship slipping. Marcus shouted through the comms, "Eleanor, you have to cut the link or it'll kill you." "No," she screamed. "If I die, humanity lives." Admiral Carter saw what was happening and made a desperate decision. "All remaining ships, full assault on the Harrower." Draw its attention away from Dr. Hayes. The humans obeyed without hesitation, throwing themselves into the fight. Many were destroyed instantly, but their sacrifice gave Eleanor the opening she needed. The Clier ship dove alongside the seedship, releasing its own devastating beam. For the first time, 3 species fought as one. Human, Veylorian, and Clier united against a common enemy. Eleanor poured every ounce of her will into the final strike. "This is for Earth," she roared. "For humanity." The seedship's core flared brighter than a star. The combined beams of energy tore through the Harrower entity, shattering it into fragments. The planet itself began to collapse, its mechanical structures disintegrating as the network failed. The wormhole flickered violently. Marcus's panicked voice rang out. "Eleanor, the gateway's destabilizing. If we don't get out now, we're trapped here." Eleanor forced the seedship toward the collapsing wormhole, dragging the surviving human and Clier ships behind her. The Harrower world imploded in a blinding flash just as they crossed the threshold. When the light faded, they were back above Earth's ocean. The Harrower reinforcements that had been descending vanished into dust, severed from their destroyed leader. A stunned silence fell over the survivors. The sea was calm at last, the storm finally gone. Inside the seedship, Eleanor collapsed to her knees, gasping for air. Marcus and Sophia's voices filled her ears, tearful and relieved. "You did it," Marcus whispered. "You actually did it." Admiral Carter's voice came over the comms, hoarse but proud. "This is Carter to all remaining vessels. The Harrowers are defeated. Earth is safe." Eleanor stared at the glowing control platform, her heart heavy. "For now," she said quietly, "but they'll be back. Others will come. We have to be ready." The Clier commander's cold voice echoed one final time. "You fought well, human, but remember, to survive, you must become strong enough to stand alone." Then the Clier ship vanished into the stars, leaving Earth's fate in its own hands. Eleanor rose slowly, her body trembling but her spirit unbroken. She looked out at the horizon, where the sun was rising over a battered but living world. "No more running," she vowed. "From this day on, humanity takes its place among the stars." As the seedship systems powered down, a single word appeared on its interface in glowing alien script. A word Marcus translated with awe. Ascension. Humanity's darkest hour had become its brightest beginning. And somewhere, in the vast, cold void of space, a new legend was born. Earth was no longer prey. It was a rising power, ready to fight for its place in the galaxy.